And if you don't try, you can sit back and just be, in the audience or in the stands, and nothing's really going to move, right? So I think the whole approach here is having that confidence to take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them is what we want to take in our entire lives.
Welcome to the Perfect 10 podcast with Amber and Emily, where we challenge the pressures and redefine perfectionism one guest at a time.
All right. So we are really excited about today's guest. She's amazing. Just the small bit we've got to know her. It's Cheryl Torrenueva is your go-to hype girl for breaking boundaries, building confidence, and designing a life and a business you actually love. I love that.
Isn't that the dream?
Isn't that the dream? Yes. As a performance coach, creator of the I Want This Life self-care journal, and founder of Nuevarosa Coaching, Cheryl helps ambitious entrepreneurs. This sounds
like us.
Scale with AI-driven systems, bold strategies, and unshakable confidence on camera, all while breaking free from perfectionism. With 20 plus years as a TV host, designer, content creator, and entrepreneur, Cheryl has mastered the art of showing up and making an impact on screen, in business, and in life. Without further ado, help us welcome Cheryl to the podcast. Thank you.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much. And honestly, let's get real. Let's get raw. I'm ready for
let's get
what you
real.
want to give me. Let's do it.
I love it. I honestly, we've been reading different things about you and all your stuff you have to offer over the last little while. And everything, I'm like, yes, because we've been, as you know, this Perfect 10 podcast, we started this because we're in 10 years. We've been running our business for 10 years. And as it changes, it doesn't necessarily get easier. Like it gets easier and harder in different ways. So as entrepreneurs, I'm like, okay, this is amazing. I love this. I feel like the first thing we want to deep dive, because people love the glitz and the glamour. You were on TV, HGTV, all the things. How did that happen? And what was that like?
Oh boy. You know what? It's funny because I just turned 47. So I have to go back 20 years when I was 26. Zero fear. I literally graduated from Ryerson University in Toronto and had no job and was like, what am I going to do next? And I literally sat in a friend's car on the way to a wedding and she said, you're really fun. I think you should apply for this contest. And it's called Designer Superstar Challenge. It's some kind of collaboration with HGTV and Home Depot. You should try. And I was like, okay, I got the summer off. I just graduated. I don't have a job. Okay, let's do it. And so I applied. Randomly, I said to my friend, let's do it together. And we'll have this whole thing where we're like Charlie's Angels, but designers. And we're going to wow them. We're going to say 2 is better than 1. Like we're just going to do weird stuff. So we created this video, and funny, it was still on VHS. We created this video where we had a friend. We just wanted to redesign his place because he had a date and we wanted to impress. So we handed that in, and we actually got chosen. We got the opportunity to be in the top 10, and no portfolio, just going on our personalities and just that drive and confidence to say, what do we have to lose?
And that is something that people need to know in life, in the world. I'm 47 too. If you're 17, if you're 60, you just go for it. It's just, who cares? And we call it chutzpah in my world. And having that chutzpah to just like have that energy and have that confidence and just go for it. Really, the worst that can happen is somebody says no. But if you don't, you're never going to know what could have been. And so I love that you started off your journey by just going, I'm going to try. Who cares? What do I have to lose? Because people need to hear that the trying is where the magic happens.
Absolutely. And if you don't try, you can sit back and just be, in the audience or in the stands, and nothing's really going to move, right? So I think the whole approach here is having that confidence to take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them is what we want to take in our entire lives. And then just kind of to go back with that story, we got to the finals and then we got kicked off right away.
That's amazing, though.
And now that I know TV, I know that there's producers behind there and they're like, we need this, we need two young, fresh meat to kind
Yeah.
of put it on TV. And so what I think the cool part about that was like I got kicked off. So I learned have confidence, get kicked off, want to cry. And then a year later, they said, hey, would you like to have a show?
Wow.
That's
So
incredible.
you never know where it could lead, right?
Exactly. And that is important for people to know is you never know where it could lead. So what was your show called?
Okay, so the very first show that I did was called Rooms That Rock. And it was two designers who would show up in an ice cream truck. And his name was Andrew, my amazing co-host, and Sarah Lynn, she was the host that would talk to the parents and the kids. And the kids had the chance to design their own room. And then
Oh, this is
through, the parents get
awesome.
to veto it. And it was so cute. It was honestly one of the cutest things. And that's what started everything.
As I go home and YouTube Rooms That Rock. Now I want to watch it.
Okay, so you seem like someone who's very confident in your own skin, and you know what I mean? Like you've got so much personality and good. While you were in this time when you were on TV all the time, did you feel like you should fit a perfect mold, that you should be a certain way, act a certain way, look a certain way? Did you kind of get that on the TV side of things, or were you just like, whatever, this is who I am? I'd love to know.
You know what? I would say there was a lot of pressure. I was also one of the only, someone of color that was on TV at the time.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening was I actually started to feel like I wasn't worthy. And
Oh,
so every job that I would go for, I would say, I don't know, like I don't really look like everyone else. This probably is going to be my last chance, right? Like I look different. I should just say this is going to be the end. And so there's that pressure to perform and almost say, hey, by the way, I have a degree. Oh, by the way, I'll work extra hours. Oh, by the way, I'll do anything I can. And instead of saying and stepping into my power and say, I'm talented. I can do this. And while I build my career, I'm going to be learning and changing and evolving. If I was going to look at myself, and give my younger self some advice, I would just say, just stay in your power, stay in your confidence because you got this.
Yeah.
There's something special. And I think it was almost, being on TV, if you look at that small pool of people who could say they could talk about design confidently, present, and have that experience of working with cameras and not getting freaked out, that's a very small pool of people.
Very small.
So small, right? And in Canada too, right? There's not a lot to choose from. But at that time, and even for about 10 years, I would go home and say that wasn't good enough. Or if a director
how did you overcome that barrier and that block that you had? Because obviously you have, and you moved past it. How did you overcome kind of overthinking, I'm not this, I'm not that, and started saying, I am this and I am that?
So it's interesting because I worked in television in Canada for the longest time, and there was an opportunity to work in the US. And so to go through that process where someone says, we want you. And so I had done a show called Restaurant Makeover. A producer saw my work and said, hey, we would love for you to work on Restaurant Impossible. Cool. I'm like, I got this. But what I didn't realize, I had to go through this whole process of getting my O visa. And to do that, you have to prove you're extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I'm not extraordinary. I'm just Cheryl from Scarborough. Like, and then saying, okay, well, now I have to gather all the evidence, show that I am extraordinary. And then once I got my visa, I was like, hell yeah.
I must be extraordinary.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
Oh, trust me, it's not easy. And you prove that. And one thing that I love that you said, like what I'd say to my younger self, there's something that I read and it's really struck me, and I think our listeners will love it. It's like, think about your younger self and do it for them. and think about your 80-year-old self and do it for them. And so you're like in the middle of this, like my younger self and and it's really inspirational because people are like, I want to do that for myself. That little girl that had no confidence. And then this woman that's going to be in the, the nursing home, so that is very powerful. So I just love that little tidbit about your younger self, because I think that's really, really a good view for people to be like, why not do it? Why not try things?
Absolutely. I think what I love about myself is that I can kind of gamify anything. So even though there was the small pool of talent in Canada that I was a part of, then going over the border and saying, I want to be part of this talent pool, which is a lot bigger, and then saying, I'm going to dominate and I don't care what I have to do to make sure I stay there. Because what not everybody realizes that you're constantly auditioning, you're constantly trying to prove yourself and say, I belong here. I belong on TV. I belong in this role, right? So for Restaurant Impossible, I ended up doing, oh my gosh, I want to say almost 50 episodes. And that's a lot, right? and the deadline was
in that world.
48 hours to do a restaurant. And it was fast and furious. And the challenge kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think that's when I really stepped into my power, where I was like, there's something different about me that people are seeing. And I got to believe this too. Because if I don't believe this, I'm going back to Canada.
That thing is the belief, the mindset.
That's
yes.
That's so good.
All about mindset.
Okay. So you did your whole, Restaurant Impossible, amazing. Like what people don't, you're not just a TV personality. You're literally renovating a restaurant. Like let's just take that in, soak on that for a minute. That's
in 48
incredible.
Hours.
But you had quite the career shift, right? Like you decided to switch it and become a performance coach and help people find that confidence. So we want to know, like, what inspired that? What was the why behind that? And kind of tell our listeners, what is a performance coach?
Okay, sure. So I would say probably in my 15th year of being on TV, there was a point where I'm like, I can't go any higher, right? I've done enough shows on camera. There's only so much that I'm enjoying, because I felt like I got to the point where I was actually helping people on camera, right? Like we would help people in very dire situations, people who were affected by Hurricane Katrina, like the best of the best. Like I even got to meet Michelle Obama, which I was like, what else can I do, right? Like what else? So I actually took a step back and I said, well, maybe I'll do producing. Maybe I'll be a content creator. I'll work with different brands. Maybe I can, just be a director and help others. And so internally, there was a light that went off and said, something's not right. Like you need to make a change. You're meant for more. And when I looked at, I actually had to track it and I said, what do I love about each project? What I loved is helping people. I loved helping people be themselves and seeing that transformation. And so when I was doing my the actual reveals for every episode, I would tell my producer, okay, if these people don't cry, you can fire me. Because I will bet on it that they will cry, because I know the transformation, because through the design journey, I listen to everything and I know the pain points. So if I can create a transformation that affects them so greatly that they will go in and be like, oh, whoa, this is for me. I deserve this. This is mine. That's what brings me so much joy. And so what I realized in this journey of being like, I can step away from TV and be okay with it, even though it was super hard, right? Because that was my identity for so long. What else can I do? So I ended up taking a certified coaching certificate through Mind Valley. I'm not sure if you heard of Mind Valley, but huge for personal growth in every aspect of your life. And when I went through that, I got the extra layer that sort of solidified that I am meant for more, and that I'm meant to be of service to more than just people who need their spaces renovated.
Well, and I think happiness, a lot of it is service, like even say not in work, but just service for other people does bring so much joy. We are the same with our fitness company. When someone, has a glow up or Stella gets her groove back, we're just it brings you so much joy.
That's what keeps you going.
So I love that for you, that you can do that and, have it as your career as well.
Yes. And when people, and I had to say to some of my friends in the industry, they're like, what are you doing now? Because I had a daughter. I went through my own, struggles of, depression, anxiety, all of that stuff that the hormones like bring.
Yeah.
And then, of course, change in life because I wasn't on TV. I wasn't, I wanted to be a mom. And what do I do now? And so performance coaching, the idea of it was, okay, buy back my time, still do something I loved, but I was starting new. And that scared the crap out of me
Of course.
because I didn't I didn't have that experience. And everything I've done in the past was based on experience and data, right? Okay, I worked this many shows. Cool, I'm confident. And now as a performance coach, I had to kind of do a lot of work internally to say, I am worthy of helping other people and they can listen to me because I have experience as a leader in transformation, bringing them happiness in their life again. And in the past, I thought I had to have some kind of degree or certificate to do that. But now looking back, I can say I've had it all along. I've been a teacher. I would teach people about their space and their environment and how that's important. And now I can apply that to all of my clients' businesses, their lives, how they can integrate new systems, how they can be happier. And I would say, though, in the summer this year, I wanted to kind of put myself, like, I had to walk the walk, right?
Yes.
And kind of say, I got to do this. Otherwise, I feel like a fraud. I don't feel authentic. So I actually went through my own fitness journey. So I think it's really awesome that I'm talking to both of you because, like that is your expertise. And I realized I also needed a coach. I needed an accountability partner to help myself, not just, it wasn't about losing weight. It was about becoming strong. It was
Yes.
becoming, feeling like myself again, fitting into my clothes. And for my mindset, I had to say to my husband, I said, listen, I'm doing this for my mental health. And he was like, you're doing it? I'm on board. So we
You
ended
have
up getting,
no idea. Just knowing you don't know that much about us. We say we're a fitness company, but truly all we care about is people feeling comfortable, feeling their best, feeling strong. We don't talk about weight loss. We don't. And we always say, I work out for my mental health, my emotional health, my mental, like that's all what it's about. And it's,
And yeah.
yeah.
And so thank you so much for even just before saying I struggled with anxiety. I struggle with depression because the more people talk about it and someone kind of lives in shame, the more people are like, "Oh, I'm the norm." I'm like most people struggle with this stuff at some point in their life. And so thank you for being open about it because it does inspire people to be, open about it, get help or whatever they need because that is our passion too. Like we are a fitness brand, but we truly are making people love themselves, making people get healthy mentally, physically because it is life-changing and it's rare for someone that has never struggled. That's the thing, is that the shame you think, oh, I'm the only one. No, it's the opposite.
it is that shame when and I don't know if you've heard of like there's like a chart with all the vibrations. And so shame and fear is like really low vibrations, like 30. But when you are on a high and you are in your zone of genius, you're talking 500 all the way to 1,000. And so what I realized in that anxiety and time where I was super dark, right? And this is like 6 months ago. I was just constantly at this low vibration, and I remember saying to my husband, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't do this anymore. I've been struggling with this to try and get my business off the ground. I've had enough. And so I had to make, like, you kind of need that breaking point to then all of a sudden say, I'm going to find this courage to get myself out of this because no one else is going to help me.
So basically, it was like rock bottom for you because you were like, I'm done with this. And it doesn't have to be about addiction or anything like that. You have to decide this is my bottom and there's only one way to go, and that is up.
Is up. And honestly, I think that that turning point for me was also asking for help. And so I remember going to ask my husband saying, listen, I need change. I'm willing to put in the effort to get an accountability coach, to figure out whatever I need to do to get myself out of this hole. And he said, I'm going to be right with you all the way. So we actually started this whole fitness journey. We hired our friend's son. His name's Jackson Wilbrink. He's amazing. He became our fitness coach. He helped us with everything from our meal plan to workouts. We set it all up at home so that way I wouldn't fall off the wagon because I find it really hard to go to the gym. I'm all about the fun, but I just won't leave my house. And so week by week, he was like, text me everything you're eating. Let's set you up with an amazing app. I think it was like MyFitnessPal. And we tracked the data. And then my husband and I got obsessed with this data and seeing our bodies transform and saying, whoa, we were seeing wins. And this whole time when we were trying to do it by ourselves, we'd fall off the wagon. We've tried every cleanse you could think of. We've tried every diet you could think of. And I'm like, what? I just need more protein? Okay, yeah. I have data. Okay, you know what? Even if I work out once a week, or, go for a walk.
It's the little tweaks that work. Like we always say to people, think of it like brushing your teeth. If you forget one day, you don't just give up for the rest of the week. You pick up where you left off and you continue on. It's about that consistency and finding joy.
Yeah, finding joy. And also, like you said, the mental benefits, the emotional, like you felt better as a person. You felt more focused. You felt more driven. You felt like you have to find that place, and that looks different for everybody. It's not one body type. It's not one thing. And the results look different on everyone, but it's finding that place where you're like, I am feeling good about myself. I'm feeling motivated. And that's what a health journey really looks like. So I love that.
Yeah. And when you're not trying to be something else or anyone else, when you finally realize, I just want to be my best self, that's when you're like, oh, this is much easier than trying to be like everyone else. So that is where the magic happens. I'm so glad that you have found like a way to find movement and to find happiness in your fitness journey. Cause that's what we do. We love people finding that place and finding joy in movement.
Absolutely. And as long as you have your hype crew, you think of like all that energy you're putting into, whether it's through your fitness journey or your mental health journey, having the support, whether, it's friends, family, and it doesn't even have to be a lot, right? 5 people, 2 people, or, just yourself. Right.
Yeah.
Just, I can do this.
We're all about groups joining up. We're the group fitness queens.
But I also love how you gave credit to your husband, because we have super supportive partners, and that makes all the difference in the world in what you're doing in your career, your family life, your fitness life. Like it truly makes such a
having
difference.
That support, having that person that just believes in you and helps you achieve. It is magic. And I wish that for everyone. You're so lucky, as are we. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I can't thank him enough. Michael's like my rock. So
we love good loves, good marriages.
Yes.
Our life.
Love.
So great. And people can find it. That's the thing. If they're single or looking out, it's out there. You can find people that are amazing, or even a friend. Support is wonderful. It's so beautiful that you have that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to take a bit of a pivot.
Yeah.
Really fascinated, and not because it's part of you, of the part of your bio in your whole program that you do. Part of it says that you use AI driven systems and solutions. And when we both, it was funny because we were talking through it. We're like, AI, the second someone says AI, we like shut down.
Like, nope.
We're scared of it. Like, I'm like, no, I don't. So I love to know what that means and why people should be into it, and like what that does for your kind of coaching that you do.
Absolutely. So I think for me, I've always just been obsessed with anything new, like shiny object, give it to me. But I think the difference here is I need to try it. I need to know whether this actually works for me. And so as I went through this whole process of saying, in terms of interior design, there's all these cool new things. Do they actually work? How can I actually use AI to my advantage? And it took about a year to just sort of grasp what it's all about. And I'm glad I did it, because now I understand, especially in this last couple of weeks where everything is AI. If you are not part of AI, like people are just saying, oh, if you're not part of this whole movement, you're going to be left behind. Well, that obviously creates anxiety for people. But for me in my business, I'm saying, hey, it's been a slow burn. I've been actually just understanding how this could work for your business. And I can actually teach you some of the systems that are out there that will actually be beneficial. So whether it's, okay, like everybody's using ChatGPT, right? But are they using it properly? Are they using it to their advantage? A lot of people say, I'm going to use it for my content creation. Okay, but have you used it to help your schedule? Have you used it to actually automate things? And I think the cool part of it, if I got to sit down with every single person who was interested in I would say, hey, where are the holes in your business? How can we automate it? How can we humanize the AI so that it doesn't feel like it's generic? You can tweak things so easily where it's like, hey, let's get 80% of the work done. And then you come in and do the 20% of the creative.
Oh,
And
that sounds like heaven. We're like, tell me more.
I'm so
right?
okay. So our next Zoom session will be you helping us.
Yes, right? It's understanding your voice. And I think if you don't have the time to reflect and you're in that hamster wheel where you're just like, I gotta get this done, right? If your focus is like social content, okay, but then I'll say to you, like, for example, if we're doing a session right now, I'll say to you, okay, great. You have your social, amazing. You're posting 3 times a week. Awesome. How much is that converting? How much is every single person converting you a client? What do you ultimately want? A client. Great. Well, if it's not converting, let's put your efforts somewhere else. And so it's the idea of, for me as a coach, being your mirror and saying, what do you want? Where do you want to go in 5 years? And let's make that happen and not repeat the mistakes that were done in the past. We're going to learn from them and we'll test and see what actually makes sense for you, your schedule, your business, your team, your employees, and all of that. And I think if anyone is achieving success, and most of my clients have achieved some kind of level of success, and they want to take it to the next level because we can't ignore it. AI is here and it's literally rapidly changing. Some of the things that I've used a year ago are now like blown out of the water. It's something new. I don't know if you heard on the news, but this whole DeepSeek thing crashed ChatGPT or OpenAI, and like it's just good to know, right? So if you don't want to research it, I will research it and I will say,
Oh,
hey,
you
by
just
the
took
way,
the fear out for me. I'm like, okay, this sounds great. I love that. You
Well,
really did make it make sense. It's not just about robots taking over our lives. It's about,
utilizing it.
utilizing it.
I was
And I
saying
love that.
utilizing it to work smarter, not harder. Because that's the problem with this
exactly.
hamster wheel where you can't get ahead and it's here and it can be a tool if used correctly. I love that so much. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Smarter, not harder, right?
Yeah.
And just being efficient, but still making sure you have time for creativity. And I think that's what people are scared of. People are scared they're going to lose their jobs. And you know what? There's parts of you that a AI or a robot can't create, right? There's
Absolutely. You
essence.
can't.
Oh, no, you can't create that creativity or the ideas or all those things. So I love that.
You work with like
All possible.
obviously a lot of entrepreneurs all the time, and we're dealing with different industries and all the different people. And I'm pretty sure that every entrepreneur, whatever they're in, faces some sort of level of perfectionism, trying to be perfect or trying to do it all or this. And like, if you just have just a couple pieces of advice for, fighting perfectionism for, generic, I know it's individual, but what's something you just encounter a lot and that you can fight perfectionism with
So
anybody?
the two things that really show up time and time again, it doesn't matter if you are on top and you've achieved honestly like celebrity status, any of those people, they say to me either, I feel like an imposter, I feel like I'm not good enough. And I'm like, but what? Like, you literally are at the top. And so there are so many things that have built in and been like ingrained from years and years ago that they haven't actually worked through to finally feel worthy and to know that you're not an imposter. It's you're actually looking at the outside world and letting them judge you. But you have all the skills. I could list all the skills you have. You are, one of the key influencers or experts in this topic, right? So imposter syndrome is huge, and
I
analysis
think even
paralysis.
for people starting out, that's huge, the imposter syndrome. Like even for us, it was like, who are you to start a fitness? So I think that's very important for people to hear that even a celebrity feels like they have imposter syndrome.
And it's like, who are you not to? That's what I would say. Who are you not to?
And something that I read is there's only one you, and that is your superpower. And so it's like, you can't be an imposter because you're being yourself. And that's you're winning. You're you know? So I love that saying. And I love that you brought that up, because the fact that even celebrities feel like imposters, then someone just starting out, it's like, look, everyone's feeling this. So you just have to get past it and, work through it and be confident.
Absolutely. And then I would say the second one is analysis paralysis, where they will be constantly analyzing, it's not good enough, or I didn't do this right, or let's change the system, or let's create a new website. And then it just actually ends up becoming a distraction and you end up wasting time. So for me, my advice is always to say, let's put all the cards on the table. Let's look at what works and what doesn't work. And where do you want to go in 5 to 10 years? Because we will only choose like the path that's going to get you to that goal, because everything else can be a distraction. Like, I get it. I'm a mom. Like, I have a 5-year-old. Everything's a distraction.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Everything is important, right? But if I have 4 hours out of the day and I want to put the best effort and maximum output, then I will focus on what actually is going to move the needle forward. So I'd rather say to my clients, let's focus on momentum. Even if it's 1% growth every day, then by the end of the year, you'll say, I've gone somewhere, instead of saying perfectionism, I've waited too long, or I never did it, or I never launched, or I never posted.
Yes.
And I will be my own mirror, because I literally, with this journal, the I Want This Life Self-Care Journal, I waited a year to launch it. And I literally launched it yesterday, because I said,
goodness. Well, congratulations. And on that note, we were just about to bring it up. So you've launched this journal, and we want you to tell us about it.
I love the title. It says, I want this life. Immediately when I read about it, I was like, yeah,
I do.
Because as an entrepreneur, you sometimes you lose the life you want building something else.
I never thought that I could be an author. I never thought I could put something together and sell it online. I just thought, I'm a designer, whatever. And so I always had this idea of reflection. I read this book by Natasha Graziano, and I believe it's called Be It Until You Become It. I read it on the plane because I had 4 hours to read something, and I was like doing it, and read all these notes, and it was all about scripting and thinking about your future self. And I thought about journaling, and I felt like there was something missing, right? Like, I don't know if you've tried gratitude journals and all that. And I wanted this to be sort of like a one-stop shop and an entry point for anyone who's thinking about coaching. And so there's everything from, morning, like pages for morning reflection, evening reflection. So no more than 5 minutes. And it's for 8 weeks. But every week there is a topic where you can work on, whether it's your vision board, whether it's talking about your finances, how are your relationships, and then obviously looking at your space. How is your space reflecting your goals? So by the end of these 8 weeks, and again, you don't have to, like, if you fall off the wagon, that's okay. Go to the next day.
Yes.
Have a few days in between. There's no pressure of a calendar. It's 8 weeks, reflect, come back and see what your weekly wins are. See how you can improve every week, what actually shows up. And I will be totally honest, when I started writing in the first couple of days, the biggest thing that came up for me was financial freedom.
Yes.
And I think it's not about me being rich. It's about taking care of my family for the next 40 years. And how can I achieve that? So it's a way for us to understand what your North Star is, understand what your why is. And so for me, just creating a product like this, where there was sort of everything in one place. And you'll see, I have to send these copies to you, because I'd love you to have like the paperback version, because there's a digital version and a paperback version. But I'm old school, right? I like just writing. You'll see by the end of the first part, let's just say you want to do your morning journaling, there's a little like action that allows you to get that little boost to kind of say, hey, listen, today's the day. We're going to make it happen. You got this. And it just, it's kind of like me coaching you on the sidelines as you're journaling. So I would love to get your feedback. To
Oh,
me,
this sounds so awesome.
We love it.
it'll be really fun. It's a fun exercise and just saying, hey, listen, like I'm going to take time for myself to actually do this.
I love that. We've so enjoyed just getting your whole story, your history. You have so much to offer. Like, I just think you're
Thank you.
amazing. Every guest, we like to end with just a few rapid fire questions for you and end with one. So we want to take you through that. So
Okay.
where is your perfect place to take some time to reflect and unwind? What's that perfect place for you?
Okay. If I had a choice, it would be Cartagena, Colombia. My
Oh,
husband and I go there every year if we can, and now with our daughter. It's a coastal place. It's rich with culture. We actually got married there, and
wow.
I truly believe there's like this portal of energy. So anytime I go there, I feel super creative and energized by the time I get home. So I would be there sipping a pisco sour, making sure that like imagining it was always refilled. That would be my
Yes,
thing.
I love
I think
that.
we need a little retreat there. We need all this magic energy coming
Yeah.
from there. All
Come
right.
with
So,
me.
oh, so fun. That sounds amazing. Okay. So, what is the perfect piece of advice that you've received from someone else?
Oh my gosh.
On the spot,
Okay,
on the spot. Yes.
okay. Okay. Uh, you don't need more time. You need more courage.
Yeah,
Oh, I love it.
I love that.
I love that. I just got chills.
Okay, last question is what makes you perfectly imperfect?
Oh my gosh. Perfectly imperfect. Wow, I don't know why this is a hard question for me. I just want to be my authentic self with you, and I'm okay with you looking at me in a way that's just real. Like I would love for you to be my mirror and let me know if I need to work on something. I think that's really having that relationship with yourself or with your friends and saying, hey, listen, this is something that's coming up. Let's work on it. I
Yeah.
think for
I
me,
want
that's
the truth. I
important.
want the truth from you. And
Yeah,
I
I love that.
and I think that takes a lot of self-growth because when you're kind of emotionally immature, you don't want to know that people don't like you or what they don't like about you. But as you grow and you become emotionally immature, it's like, I want the truth. Do I make you feel this? So I love that. I love that answer because it shows that you're just very emotionally mature and you're confident in your own skin. And doesn't everyone dream of being in that
Yep.
place?
And that's
Yeah.
what I've really gotten from this conversation. You obviously have so much to offer. So we want to let you know we also have Cheryl has an exclusive offer for all of our listeners on the Perfect 10 podcast that you don't want to miss. So tell us a little bit what you're going to offer our listeners.
Okay, so I am calling it the high fitness bundle. Okay, it's like leveling up your life. And so I would love for all of your viewers to take advantage of really diving into this I Want This Life self-care transformation journal. So with this bundle, you will get a free digital copy so that you have no excuses. You can actually start right away.
Oh,
Yeah, right? You will also get a 30-minute one-on-one performance coaching audit,
Wow.
which is great. And you'll also get 20% off any coaching package if you decide to move forward. So all you have to do is you just purchase the I Want This Life paperback version, which is on Amazon. I'll give you the code, which is perfect. You'll get that digital copy.
perfect. Yeah, I
Right. So
love it.
once you get the paperback version, you'll just send me the receipt to Nuevarosa Coaching, and then you get access to me with the audit. You'll get the digital copy, no problem. It's just going to be great. We'll work
Yes,
together.
you should take advantage and we'll put this in the show notes, obviously,
Yeah.
with this, how to claim this, because a 30-minute audit with you, everyone should experience 30 minutes with you. We just experienced 35, 40 minutes with you. We hope everybody loved it as much as we did. We're so grateful for your insight and all that you've had to offer. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And honestly, I would love to meet you both in person, whether it's in Utah or come to Canada. No
Yes.
problem. My door is always open. There's a portal here too. So
Wonderful. You may be hearing from us about your business coaching with the AI. That
Yeah.
sounds exciting.
go.
So let's do
let's
it.
do this.
That's
I'll make it easy for you. We'll have drinks. It's good.
Love it. As always, a huge thanks to our guests and for the support you've given us by tuning in. Catch us next time on the Perfect 10 podcast. We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.